Thank you for subscribing to this channel. This is a reading part C practice video.
The question is, what should the staff avoid when disclosing distressing information to patients? Now, if you read the paragraph, the delivery of bad news is very difficult. Arrange to talk to the patient in the company of family, preferably away from other patients. In some cultures, it is not common to give difficult news directly to the patient. We must be aware that the norms and customs of our patients may not match our own. Often we try to soften the delivery of bad news by saying too much and confusing the matter, or by saying too little and leaving people with unanswered questions. Don't say neoplasm if what you mean, and what will be understood, is cancer. Be clear. Allow people to understand and feel some of the impact of the news, and then allow them to ask questions. It is often necessary to repeat the information to other family members, or to the same people the next day. This clearly mentions that you should not cause misunderstanding.
Let's look at the next question.
You have to read the complete paragraph to understand the purpose. Reading the underlined section will give you a clear understanding about the purpose. Let us read together. An integral part of asthma management is the development of a written asthma action plan by the person with asthma and/or their carer together with their doctor. An asthma action plan helps the person with asthma and/or their carer recognize worsening asthma and gives clear instructions on what to do in response. The process of developing a written asthma action plan is important, as this should be a discussion of the person's individual asthma and its management. The written plan is a reminder of that discussion. Written asthma action plans are one of the most effective asthma interventions available, and have been shown to reduce hospital admission and emergency visits to general practice. Now, you should have understood that the purpose of the paragraph is to raise general practitioners' awareness of the value of asthma action plans.
Let's look at the next question.
The question is, what does the guidelines on chemical waste stress the staff to do? Now, if you read the paragraph, you can see that unlabeled chemicals are increasingly difficult and very costly to dispose of and may require special analysis in order to identify them. Furthermore, the hospital's chemical waste contractor will now not remove any unknown chemicals due to their risk level. Every effort should therefore be made to ensure that all chemicals in use, in storage, or being prepared for disposal are fully labeled and described. If unidentified waste is discovered, you should immediately notify the hospital's designated waste contractor via the help desk and complete an incident form. All empty containers which have previously contained chemicals for licensed disposal must be considered as hazardous waste until cleaned. By focusing on the highlighted section, you can understand that the guidelines says that staff should ensure that any chemicals in the hospital are properly documented.
Let's look at the next question.
The question is, what is the memo reminding pharmacists? Now let us read the paragraph. At the beginning of the paragraph, the rights mentions that various types of errors, omissions, incidents, or other non-compliances are a subject of investigation. Then, if you read the underlined section, you can read that pharmacists should therefore follow a risk management procedure, including appropriate record keeping. The record is to show when the incident was recorded, when it occurred, who was involved, both actual and alleged, the nature of the incident or complaint, what actions were taken, and any conclusions. If contact was made with third parties, such as government departments, prescribers, lawyers, or professional indemnity insurance companies, details of the conversation should be recorded. Regardless of how serious the incident may appear, comprehensive detailed records need to be kept. The record should be kept for 3 years because of the delayed nature of some forms of litigation. Now, from the paragraph, you can understand that the paragraph mentions the rationale for documenting incidents and errors. The question is, what point is made in this guidelines? From the paragraph, you can read that it is mentioned that, amongst adult patients suffering high-energy multi-trauma, approximately 5% will suffer a significant vertebral column injury and significantly less suffer a spinal cord injury. Then the paragraph mentions the risk associated with undiagnosed vertebral column injury. Now, if you read the underlined sentences, you can read that, therefore, patients in ICU should undergo spinal evaluation by CT imaging and interpretation by a consultant radiologist within 24 hours of injury. If imaging is undertaken out of hours, it is acceptable to continue spinal precautions overnight and review imaging early the next day. This indicates that the staff should make it a priority to rule out spinal injuries. As you can read the subject of this update, withdrawal of bovine insulin, you should get an idea that this is about changing of bovine insulin. Now, if you read further, the first line says that bovine insulin preparations will shortly be withdrawn due to limited availability of the active ingredient. The second and the third lines mentions that people with insulin-treated diabetes who currently use bovine insulin preparations will continue to require insulin treatment and they will need to be changed to an alternative type of insulin. Then, if you read the remaining portion of the paragraph, you will understand that it talks about the problems that may be caused due to the change from bovine insulin to any other alternative. This suggests that the answer is option B, that says, users may experience difficulties when switching to alternatives.